Bitcoin Thursday update, starting off on the 4 hour, then we'll zoom out to the daily, the 3 day, and the weekly to give you all the info and none of the bullshit. So let's get right to it. 4 hour chart. We had a little bit of a fake out this morning, moving up to the upside so far, right? So far, we're still in an uptrend on this chart in the 4 hour chart. But we got maybe a little too premature there, right? We wicked up right to 28.1, right at the top of the Bollinger Band. You see that, right? We're still in a lower high here. But we're in danger of rolling over, but we're still in an uptrend, with higher highs, higher lows, right? Put it on closing prices. And you could argue, like, here's a trend line, right? And you say, well, why did you drop from there? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's go look, right? The 50-week tap right there with this candle, this low, right? And you can have multiple trend lines on charts. FYI, newsflash, you can get what's called an accelerated uptrend, right? So you can draw one there, and maybe those of you familiar with fans, right? This is how fans work, right? And you can get like this accelerated trend, right? You can see that. So some people, this is why diagonal lines can be subjective and cherry picking data, so to speak. So data or data, what do you prefer? Someone writes data in the comments, and they meant data, right? You get it? No. So accelerate uptrends, right? So you can see that how this is a trend line, and then it started to kind of hold the higher highs, right? And then you can draw a new trend line, and then like if it comes back up again, right, you could argue that you could draw even a different trend line, right? You could start drawing this if, right, imagine this was up here, right? You could draw these accelerated, right? This is kind of how fans and things like that work, but that's another lesson for another day. So we want to be watching kind of both of these levels, right? The more information you can get on a chart, it can be confusing unless you're the one that's writing the script, right? So we're looking at this, you can see we're in danger of kind of losing this accelerated trend line, right? We still have this lower trend line intact, the 50-day, the 50 EMA, right? We're on the 4 hour, so it's still a 50 EMA. So that's what I'd be looking at to really hold our bullish momentum to the upside. Otherwise, we can remove those if we come below that. And then we want to start to hold the horizontal lines, which these are a little bit more important. And not only lines, but I like zones a little bit better. So here is our bullish hold zone, right? So if we remain above here, we can continue on set uptrend. If we close under here, 27.1, 27K, we start to flirt with 100 and 200 EMA. We could be in a spot of bother, so to speak, Christopher Robin. But I don't know if he said that. I think that's Winnie the Pooh. But anyway, right? So then we're revisiting our lower trend line, mile a minute, this mine goes. So then we'll be looking at kind of our fail-safe zone, right? This kind of deviation, this kind of little bit of a tweezer top back here. You can see those upper wicks. If we break that, right, we're definitely leaning more bearish at that point, right? 26.8, 26.7. Right, then we start to lose that, and then we'll probably pick up steam to the downside. These are big ifs, right? These are our caution points to the upside, right? Say these hold. Say we bounce here sooner than later, and we go back up again. Well, we're still in our uptrend. We have our accelerated uptrend to be watching for, right? We can paint that back on. And remember, like if you struggle with drawing these trend lines, right, put it on closing prices, and you can go check all your favorite YouTubers too, right? Make sure they're doing this. If they're drawing trend lines not like this, then they're not doing themselves or you a justice, and they're probably trying to fit their narrative to get you to more clicks, right? That's probably all it is, right? So I'm not going to do any of that ever. I always look at both sides and keep it as unbiased as possible. So there's our immediate kind of a trend line on the 4 hour, right? We're in danger of losing that. We'll see. We close this candle in an hour and a half, less than that. So depending on when you watch this video, right, go check this candle on the 4 hour. Did it close under here? Then we're looking at this zone, 27.3-ish to 27.2-ish. If we close under that, then we flip to this zone, right? So this is what we're watching for the rest of today. If we come down here and then we come back up and then we kind of hit our head on this trend line, then that's a rejection, right? And trend line down, right? We're losing momentum, right? And so we're in danger of potentially losing our uptrend, right? And then we can draw this a new trend line, right? And put on closing price, check yourself, right? See that? So we're at decision point on the 4 hour, right? For the short term, we're gonna break down or break up relatively soon. I would say sometime today, the next 4, 8, 12 hours, maybe. At that's it. Just just watch all this, right? Hopefully this is as confusing as possible. I'll try to give you as much information as possible, as quick as possible, to save you time and not waste anything. Okay, hopefully that helps. Let's get going to the daily chart. The daily chart. We're looking good still here, right? The daily chart, as we've talked about all week, we are looking at this zone, and more importantly, the 100-day EMA, right? The blue line here, right? You see the blue, how we rejected here, and look back here, right? Support, 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 and then lost it, and then flip to resistance, resistance, and resistance, even just a couple days ago, right? A week ago, right? Resistance, and then we broke through it. Come Sunday, we closed above it, and now look where it's doing. Support, 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 support. Right? So that is the key area for the bulls. We flipped this back to support. Great sign, right? This zone, it's our bull zone. As long as we're closing above this, you should be leaning bullish. We've closed this downtrend. This downtrend is over. We are in a new uptrend. Uptrends can last at any given moment, right? I'm not saying this is going to last much longer, or it could last weeks longer. Right, but to argue that we're in a downtrend is no longer valid. We are now in an uptrend by definition. Here's our low. Here's our higher low. Here's our high. Here's our higher high, right? You got to recognize when the trend has changed. We have changed. This is now over, right? Do not think we are in a downtrend anymore. Not only that, but our 200-day EMA is starting to curl up there. If you can see that ever so slightly, we're above, price action is above all moving averages. By definition, you should be bullish. Not weighing, you should always be as unbiased as possible, willing to change on a dime, right? Based on the information, based on the price. If you're not doing that, you're not doing it correctly. So be readily available to change your opinion based on the price at any time, given the data lets you. Right now, we're bullish because of the charts say to be, right? We're holding above the EMA 8 and the 100. Perfect support. We could absolutely bounce here today, tomorrow, 2 days from now, I don't know. But until we close back under that 100, you should be bullish, right? 27.3. Until we close under 27.3 on the daily, you're bullish. Got it. All right, let's zoom out a little bit more to the 3-day. Now we start to get a little suspect, right? Look at these upper shadows. These are sellers coming in and pushing us back down under this 200 EMA in the pink. That's also this 600-day EMA because we're on a 3-day chart. Does that make sense? Hopefully. We've kind of flirted with this kind of zone here. What zone? I don't see anything. Look over here, right? See all these wicks, right? This kind of liquidity zone up in here, right? Some people kind of flipping previous support minor, right, to resistance. So far, but what do I like? Well, I'm glad you asked. What do I like for the bulls is we're trying to kind of turn the ship around here, right? We had this kind of move down, consolidation. Now we're trying to pick ourselves up off the damn floor and get back to it, right? We have an established kind of base, move up, our high, come back down, higher low. Okay, great. Let's move up. Let's make a higher high. We did that. Check. High, higher high, low, higher low. Weekly, 3-day. Just kidding. Got a little bit too far ahead. So good things and bad things, right? That's the good. The bad is we're holding resistance as we have for weeks and months, right? Resistance at the 200, resistance at the 200, resistance at the 200, right? We need to flip this, close above it. It's not much from here. It's 27.5. Close above 27.5 at this candle tomorrow. This candle closes on Friday, 3-day. Close above 27.5. You got to start giving more of an edge to the bulls. Now, also for the bulls, see this thin purple line? That's the median line on the Bollinger Bands. By definition, you're more bullish in this top half than this bottom half, right? You see how the price action tends to do well when you're in this top half of the Bollinger Bands, right? And then when you start creeping below, the trouble brews, right? You see that? All right, so that's the 3-day chart. Bulls and bears, right? Looked at from both sides. Now let's do the same thing one final time for the weekly, just to keep tabs. We need to keep checking on the weekly candle. So far, more of a spinning top right now. So markets battling. Bulls and bears are fighting head to head quite literally, right? Upper shadow is pretty equidistant the lower shadow, and small candle body, and that is a spinning top, and that is indecision in the markets. Halfway through the week, we're about halfway through the week, and the bulls and bears are pretty even. Okay, so that's the facts. And if you have to argue something for the bulls, We broke above it last week. We broke slightly into the upper half of these Bollinger Bands. We're above the 21 week. We've come back down this week and tapped perfectly off the EMA 8 and the 21. So that is, I give slight edge to the bulls here. However, let's look at the bears. The bears would argue, hey now, we're still in a downtrend. We're double resistance back here. We've put in lower lows, right? We could still be on this trend line, and they'd be right? We're still there. We have this in the back of our mind, but the bulls are saying, right, we held the line at the 200. We're picking ourselves off the floor. We've cut back through the 21 EMA. We held support right at the EMA 8, and now we're just we're battling, right? We're just in a battle. We're gonna know here in the next couple of weeks if who's gonna win, right? With the downtrend is gonna break or confirm, and we're gonna be back down to 25K again, or we're gonna be at our next kind of zone, and I would say 29 to 30K. Are we going to go up here? Right, there's our next zone, right? See these candles, right? 29, 30K or 25K. I don't think there's much in between, right? Well, I would say in a couple of weeks from now, we'll have tapped off of one of these again. Which one is it going to be? Nobody knows, right? We'll just watch every day and update you there, right? So hopefully you found this helpful. Hit the like button if you haven't already. I'll see you soon.